Commissioner Mwangala. Next to him is Commissioner Ambassador Titi, and next to Commissioner Titi is Commissioner Major General Vincent Bukanda retired. Ladies and gentlemen, it's once again my singular honor to introduce the Chairperson of the Electoral Commission of Zambia, and indeed invite her to address the press this afternoon. The Chairperson of the Electoral Commission of Zambia is Mrs. Mwangala Zaloumis, State Council, and the Chairperson, we welcome to invite me to speak to the media.
Thank you very much. And I'm pleased that we are all here, and pleased to see so many members of the media fraternity here. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. You are very welcome to the Commission. And on behalf of the Electoral Commission of Zambia, it is my pleasure to warmly welcome you all to this press briefing aimed at addressing two particular issues bordering on the mandate of the Commission, which dominated the airwaves in the past few days. And I'm sure you're not surprised that we've had to hold a press brief today, because these issues are very important. And as they are dominating the airwaves, I think it's we have to talk to the issues that are currently being discussed by the public, by the stakeholders. Now, the issues that we are going to discuss today is one, tender for the supply, delivery, installation, and commissioning of automated biometric identification systems, popularly known as ABIS, for the Electoral Commission of Zambia, for our commission here. The second one, which is very topical at the moment, and when you go to Facebook, our stakeholders are discussing this all the time, and this is the use of campaign materials of non-contesting political parties during campaign periods. As you know, at the moment, we have 3 by-elections going on at the same time, and therefore this discussion that has been doing the rounds is aptly being discussed in all these by-elections that we have. I'm delighted to note that we are live streaming this brief on various social media platforms, including our official ECZ Facebook page. To all our stakeholders joining us virtually this morning, I extend the same very warm welcome to you. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to address these matters. The first one, the use of automated biometric identification system, ABIS, in the electoral process. The Electoral Commission of Zambia is scheduled to conduct a mass mobile registration of voters exercise in 2025 in preparation for the 2026 general election. The exercise is targeting to capture an estimated number of 3.5 million Zambians that will be eligible to register as voters. The new registrations will be added to the current register that stands at 7.07 million voters that we currently have on our registers. The Commission wishes to state from the onset that the ECZ has been utilizing the automated biometric identification system technology in the voter registration process since 2006. Since 2006, we've been using the ABIS. It's not the first time that the Commission intends to use it. Therefore, this is not a new development as being alleged. The technology has been used for the past 19 years to prepare the register of voters for the 2006, in 2006 it was used, 2011, 2015, and 2021 general elections, including the ongoing continuous voters registration of voters exercised in 30 districts in all the provinces that commenced in 2022. I'm sure you're aware that we have a continuous registration of voters. We've always been at it. We've told you where these voter registration centers are. It's 3 in every province in the country, and therefore there are 30. It should be noted that regulations 11 and 17 of the electoral process, regulation number 18 of 2020, and this is the registration of voters, mandate the chief electoral officer to compile a register of voters for each polling district, which must include, among other elements, biometrics, portraits, names and identity, numbers of voters. In addition, Regulation 29(1)(c) mandates the Chief Electoral Officer to ensure that the name of any person does not appear in more than one register of voters, or in the same register of voters more than once. Therefore, to ensure the accuracy of the voters register, the Commission adopted and implemented the automated biometric identification system, ABIS technology, to facilitate detection of multiple registrations. The ABIS technology uses human biometric features, such as fingerprints and portraits, for identification. The ABIS technology is critical to the operations of the Commission as it relates to voter registration. It is important to note that similar systems are utilized by other electoral management bodies and immigration authorities worldwide. We are not the first ones. All the election management bodies in Africa, where we are members in those bodies, all use the biometric or the ABIS, so to say. Further, in compliance with the Data Protection Act number 3 of 2021, the register of voters is hosted internally within the Commission and managed by Commission personnel. It is important to note that the qualifications of one to register as a voter are outlined in Article 46 of the Constitution of Zambia and Section 8 of the Electoral Process Act number 35 of 2016. Therefore, no one will be disenfranchised on account of technology used in the voter registration process. Procurement process. Arising from the need for ABIS, the Electoral Commission of Zambia on 30th of January 2025 issued the tender for the supply, delivery, installation, and commissioning of automated biometric identification system for the Commission. The tender, which was issued on electronic government procurement and popularly known as EGP system, closed on the 28th of March 2025 and was open to all eligible bidders, both local and international, in partnership with the citizen bidders. The tender was administered following the rules under open, international, competitive bidding procedures as provided for in the Zambia Public Procurement Act number 8 of 2020 and Public Procurement Regulation of 2022. At the close of the tender, 12 companies submitted bids and were all subjected to the evaluation process. Following the conclusion of the evaluation process, the Commission issued a public notification on 10th of July 2025 of the best evaluated bidder. The notice of best evaluated bidder closed yesterday, only closed yesterday. So the process is still going, after which subsequent processes will follow. Therefore, the allegations leveled against the Commission on this issue are baseless, misguided, and unfounded. The second issue that I alluded to earlier on is the use of campaign materials of non-contesting political parties during campaign period. I'm aware that quite a number of statements have been issued. I'm aware that people have held press briefs, press conferences on the issue. I'm aware that the Commission has been pulled in the dust, that we are doing the wrong thing, and that it's illegal for what was guided at the time in full. I think let's put the record straight and remind the stakeholders where we draw our mandate, where we've come from as far as campaign materials are concerned, and how they are confined to political parties that are participating in an election. How we cannot lend or borrow our symbols, colors, and what to other political parties. We are guided by the law. We found the law. The law was not made now by the Commission now. It's always been there. The Commission has noted with concern the debate among some stakeholders regarding the use and wearing of campaign regalia, which does not depict the symbol, color, or pictorial images of the contesting political party and or candidate, respectively, during an election campaign period. This debate arose following a point of clarification raised during the post-nomination political parties liaison committee meeting held on the 10th of July 2025 at Lavushimanda Town Council, ahead of the Mfue parliamentary by-elections in Lavushimanda district of Muchinga province. The clarification which was sought from the Commission was raised by one of the stakeholders and not the Commission. The by-election is scheduled to take place on the 7th of August 2025 and is being contested by 3 political parties, namely the New Congress Party, NCP, United Party for National Development, UPND, and Socialist Party, SP. The political party liaison committee was presided over by the commissioners from ECZ, Major General Vincent Lukanda, and Mr. McDonald Chipenzi. During this time, during this meeting, attended by officials from the contesting political parties and Zambia Police Service, a concern was raised on the use of campaign materials during campaign periods, such as T-shirts, vitenges, or wrappers, by non-contesting political parties. I hope you've got me right. The issue that was raised was materials being used, campaign materials being used by parties that are not taking part in an election, except for those 3 that were mentioned, but they were concerned about that issue. The concern was that some people had taken advantage of the campaign materials to engage in acts of violence and other electoral malpractices. Some stakeholders wish to know whether campaigners for a candidate could adorn another party's campaign material bearing symbols and colors of a party that was not participating in the election. The Commission would like to confirm and reaffirm its position that only campaign materials depicting symbols, colors, images of a political party, and/or pictorial images of a candidate contesting an election will be allowed and may be distributed and propagated during the campaign period ahead of the forthcoming by-election and beyond. In fact, we have by-elections. This was before. Subsequently, it was clarified through responses to some press queries that by law, only campaign materials for contesting political parties and candidates' ideas, policies, strategies, and pictorial images of such candidates should be distributed and propagated to promote peaceful elections during campaigns. However, this clarification generated further debate from political parties that are not taking part in the election and questioned the legal basis of such guidance. Some stakeholders have gone as far as claiming that the clarification and guidance were illegal and unconstitutional, citing the constitutional provisions in Article 20 and 21 that guarantee citizens' freedom and expression, freedom of expression and association. The Commission wishes to reiterate that inasmuch as the Constitution in Article 20 and 21 guarantees citizens the freedoms and rights, the same provisions derogate such freedoms and rights on account of public order, safety, defense, and morality, among others. Since the electoral process is anchored on established laws and in peaceful and orderly electoral environments, the maintenance of public order and respect for the rule of law among players during electoral campaigns is paramount in safeguarding individual freedoms and peace during campaigns. The Commission, therefore, in Article 229, is mandated to implement the electoral process and regulate the conduct of candidates. It goes without saying that providing guidance on how an election ought to be conducted is within the mandate of the Commission and can never be a misguidance and an illegal act. It can never be a misguidance or an illegal act. Ladies and gentlemen, the Commission draws its mandate regarding regulating the use of campaign materials during campaign political parties and or candidates from Section 29 and 89 of the Electoral Process Act, number 35 of 2016, as read together with the interpretation section of the same Act. Section 2 of the Act defines campaign materials to mean party or candidate manifestos. The campaign materials are party or candidate manifestos, advertisements, billboards, posters, T-shirts, cloth or other materials depicting colors regarding symbols and other designs of a party or pictorial images of a candidate. The key words here are depicting colors regarding symbols of a political party or pictorial images of a candidate. By law, a candidate is a person contesting a presidential, parliamentary, or local government election, and one becomes a candidate after being duly nominated by the Commission, having been adopted by a political party, not political parties, but by one political party, or as an independent candidate. That's it. Section 29(3) of the Electoral Process Act states that a candidate or political party may, during an electoral campaign, publish or distribute campaign materials of such a nature and in such a manner as may be prescribed by the Commission. Again, this provision empowers the Commission to prescribe the manner in which campaign materials from contesting political parties and or candidates should be managed. Further, subsection 4 sums it up by providing that for the purposes of this section, campaign messages means an activity, statement, or any other form of expression aimed at promoting particular political ideas, policies, and strategies for purposes of obtaining votes for a candidate or political party contesting an election. The provisions of the law on this matter are very clear. The purpose of any political party or candidate campaigning materials and messages is to promote the ideas, policies, and strategies for that specific election in which the political party, their political party, has fielded a candidate, and all for that candidate for purposes of obtaining votes. From the foregoing, the Act is forestalling public disorder during campaigns. If campaign messages and materials which do not depict the ideas, policies, and programs, strategies of contesting political parties and their candidates are propagated, the emphasis of the law is that such messages and materials should depict political party colors, symbols, ideas, policies, strategies, and pictorial images of contesting political parties and or candidates. So one cannot go and borrow other symbols, other people's, other parties' symbols, other parties' colors, other parties' ideas, policies, in order to propagate, in order to talk about your campaigns during these campaign periods. So this is for the contesting political parties and their candidates. We wish to remind the stakeholders that this is not the first time the Commission has guided political parties and all candidates ahead of an election campaign. In 2021, the Commission guided independent candidates not to use campaign regalia of other contesting political parties and their candidates because it would only confuse voters, thereby promoting disorder in the electoral process. This was in 2021, not now. I think some stakeholders have forgotten that these were reminded. The independent candidates were reminded. Those who took part in 2021 can remember because the Commission guided and they abided by the Commission's guidance. We wish to urge the political parties that those participating in elections must follow the law as prescribed in Section 89(1)(n) of the Electoral Process Act. It is an offense for any person being a candidate to use a symbol in the course of an election other than a symbol registered with the Chief Electoral Officer. I'll read that again. We wish to urge the political parties that those participating in elections must follow the law as prescribed in Section 89(1) of the Electoral Process Act, that it is an offense for any person being a candidate to use a symbol in the course of an election other than a symbol registered with the Chief Electoral Officer. It is also an offense for any other person to associate any candidate with any symbol in the course of an election other than the candidate's registered symbol. I'll repeat that again. It is also an offense for any other person to associate any candidate with any symbol in the course of an election other than the candidate's registered symbols. For the avoidance of doubt, Section 89(1) provides as follows. Quote, a person shall not, being a candidate, use a symbol in the course of an election other than the symbol registered with the Chief Electoral Officer in accordance with this Act and any regulations thereunder, or in the case of any other person, associate any candidate with any symbol in the course of an election other than the candidate's registered symbol. Ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, I wish to remind participating political parties and candidates in all the by-elections in Ifue constituency, Kashiba ward, and Shabo ward in Mpongwe, and in Chelenge districts respectively, that the campaign timetables were developed by all participating parties after nominations to aid smooth campaigning. Let me assure the contesting candidates and political parties that the campaign timetable is sufficient notification to the police for them to proceed with their meetings during the campaign period. Therefore, the Commission wishes to appeal to all the stakeholders to maintain law and order for the electoral process to thrive for the benefit of the electorates. I thank you for your valuable attendance.
Thank you, Chairperson. We are now at the point where we recognize that you may have questions or points of clarification that you may want to raise. So, by show of hands, let me just see if there are any questions around the room.
Next one.
Okay, let's start from here so you tell us your name and the media house. Then you ask the question so we can take notes.
Thank you so much. My name is Best Chairperson Mwangala. My question is, how should alliances handle themselves with this provision of the law? We understand that there are alliances in most political parties. I think.
Thank you, Best. I saw a hand behind that.
Thank you very much. My name is Christine Mopani from TV.
The voice.
Thank you so much. I'm Christine Mopani from Crown.
Sorry, maybe you could move there and use the mic. Okay.
Thank you so much. My name is Christine Mopani from Crown TV. My question is similar to what my colleague has asked. I wanted to find out the Chelsea Alliance particularly held a press briefing, and according to them, the directive on the use of party regalia and symbols was discrimination, and they insisted that in the Ifue by-election, they will continue using the PF regalia and symbols. I wanted to get what the Commission is going to do about this. And then my second question is that also the Tonsi Alliance accused the Commission of malpractice. According to them, during the Lumesi by-election, the theory of ballot papers was not transparent, and many other issues that they highlighted in their press briefing. I just wanted to get your reaction on this.
Thank you, Christine. Do we have another question? Chief Electoral Officer, you will confirm regarding the responses. We'll come back and see if there'll be more responses other than this.
I think let me start with regard to the alliances. We have no problem with alliances because the alliances have been there before the Tools Alliance. If you remember, I think in 2021 there were alliances. So we are not stopping any one of our stakeholders to enter into an alliance, but they must abide by the law. The law is very clear about regalia, campaign regalia, and it defines campaign regalia. That you cannot go on in a by-election campaigning in a regalia that does not belong to the participating political parties. What we would advise is that even within the alliance, they can make some arrangements to go in their friends' regalia so that they can campaign, so they don't confuse the electorate. Can you imagine if there are about 6 political parties in an alliance and each one of them go in their own regalia? The fights will ensue. The police won't even know who is who, for which political party, who is participating, who is the candidate. I think they can help their candidates by uniting. The way they've come together as an alliance, they can also unite and wear the other friends of the alliance when they have an election. Because they are not campaigning in their own political party. They're not campaigning in their own political party. They are campaigning on behalf of the candidate who has filed his nomination, who the people would like to know that this candidate belongs to this political party who we want to vote for. Now, there will be total confusion and disorder. You have a ward with about 6 political parties or 4 political parties taking part in that election. Then you have the alliance members. Some of them might have 5, some of them might have 10. As you know, we have so many registered political parties. I think how many are they? About over 100? Over 80. Now, if all those political parties who are over 80 decide to go, or first to print their own symbols, as the law says, if you're a political party, you must have your own symbol, you must have your own colors, you must have your own ideas and everything. That's a campaign material. Now you go into a ward with all those. What are we going to do? What are we doing to the electorate? What are we doing to them? We are playing confusion, disorder. And the youth will just stand up and start hitting one another. Even the old people fight. They even break their legs. So please, all we are yearning for as a commission is to have order during an election. Election does not mean violence. Election does not mean disorder. That's what I would say to that. Now, even for a by-election, this came up. as a result of a clarification that was sought from one of the stakeholders. But who is standing in this election? Because the electorates were asking, who are the candidates? We are seeing different regalia. As you know, in Zambia today, you identify your political party by the regalia they wear. The minute you walk in a village, you're wearing a chitenge, or you have, a t-shirt or a chitenge wrapper, the people know that, oh, they belong to this political party. Those people don't care about alliances. Deep down, in the villages, or even in the compounds, all they want to know, we always identify ourselves with the regalia. So, what you're doing, you're even doing a disservice to that political party. Because the people who walk in, they might not even know about alliances. They might not even think, oh, this political party is in alliance with my political party. No. They'll say, oh, this political party, we know it as such and such. So when they go to vote, they'll be looking for the symbol of the political party that they've been seeing. Is that what you need? Is that what you want? Now, you bring problems because during the election, they'll start asking, I want political party A. And we tell them, no, political party A hasn't taken part in this election. And people think that there's something that we are doing to the election. So please, my brothers and sisters, all we are asking for is, within the alliance, let's have some order. Help one another. Identify with the people that you have sponsored to stand in an election. And you can only identify with them if you were their campaign began. That's all we're asking. Thank you. Now, the Truth Alliance malpractices during the ballot paper, I think I'll ask the CEO to talk to that about ballot paper. I thought that would be commended for being so efficient that we turned around, despite that mistake we did, we turned around in order to have that mistake, our mistake, corrected. Now, by doing that, we have been condemned for being efficient. I'm amazed. Let's see. Please explain what happened with ballots and how efficient we became.
Thank you, Chair. Just to re-emphasize that the ballot papers that were used in the Lumezi constituency by-election were received in the presence of representatives from the participating political parties in that by-election. Firstly, at the Kenneth Kaunda International Airport, when they arrived on the 25th of July, we had representatives from the participating political parties who witnessed their arrival. So I'll name a few. So the Citizen First, the New Congress Party, the United Party for National Development, and others. Upon arrival, an inspection was undertaken, and one of the boxes, the representatives signed the carton box for one of the ballot paper booklets. And together with them, we witnessed the dispatch of those ballot papers to Lumezi by air, and the stakeholders on the ground in Lumezi were informed of the anticipated time of arrival and were on hand to witness their arrival and did proceed to verify all the ballot papers before the deployment that same evening in readiness for the by-election on the 26th of July 2025. So once again, this information was shared by a press release by the Commission through yourselves, the media. So in that respect, then, that allegation does not have basis. To repeat myself, the participating political parties witnessed the arrival here in Lusaka, dispatch to Lumezi, arrival in Lumezi, verified before deployment to the various polling stations in the Lumezi constituency. Thank you.
Thank you, CEO. Just the last check, if there are more hands. There's a hand at the back. Let me just see by way of indication. Do we have more hands? So that we can take this at the back again. So we have two. And I'm assuming after those two we can close. Okay, we can begin with you, my lady. I know the cameras and everybody has obstructed you, but you can introduce yourself so that then the chair knows what's asking.
Good afternoon. My name is Mwangala.
Would you like to come here so that we can see one another? Because you can't see us.
Good afternoon. My name is Mwangala from News Tigers newspaper. Just one question. I know you indicated concerning the fact that it is an offense if anyone is found using another candidate's symbol or regarding during the campaign. Just wanted to find out what consequence or penalties does this attract if anyone is found wanting, if they fail to follow some of these regulations or laws that have been stipulated. What is the consequence or penalty that this attracts?
Thank you, Mwanya. I'm sure your coming today has answered all the queries that you've been inviting me. She's relentlessly on my guests, wanting answers to the questions. Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kanaka from Millennium Radio. I just wanted to get the Commission stance on some of the concerns that were raised as far as the auditing of the contract for $4 million for the ABIS. Why there was a concern is why is the ECZ awarding this contract to a Mauritius-based company? Is it that Zambian companies don't have the capacity to deliver as far as this is concerned? Thank you very much.
Thank you. CEO can respond to those and probably let them know hands. No hands.
I think with the first from News Tigers, I'll ask our lawyer to talk to that so that he can tell you what the law says and what the offense and also what happens to that offense.
The penalty.
Penalty.
Thank you, Chair. And good afternoon. So, in terms of the law and the penalty, Section 89(2) provides that a person who contravenes any of the provisions of subsection 1 commits an offense and is liable upon conviction to a fine not exceeding 200,000 penalty units or to imprisonment for a period not exceeding 2 years or to both. So the law has provided the penalty, it's a fine, not exceeding 200,000 penalty units or to imprisonment for a period not exceeding 2 years or to both. So it's within the discretion of the court.
Thank you. The award.
Thank you, Chair. In terms of the tender for the automated biometric information system, as already highlighted by the chairperson in her remarks, this tender was administered as provided for by the Zambia Public Procurement Act. The Zambia Public Procurement Act prescribes the steps an institution like the Electoral Commission of Zambia needs to go through when it comes to a tender whose anticipated value is beyond a certain limit. So in this case, this particular tender qualified for a process called open international bidding. What that means is that the tender is open to both international and local bidders, so Zambian companies and international, it's open to both, as long as they partner with companies that are wholly owned by citizens. So it is in that respect that the tender was administered as such, and as the chairperson indicated, 12 companies did participate, and the evaluation was undertaken as earlier outlined. Let me just assure that the procurement law has the necessary safeguards and mechanisms not only to protect an institution like the Electoral Commission of Zambia, but public resource, so that as an institution, as we undertake the procurement, it's always in the interest of the Republic of Zambia. And in complying with that, the Commission, rather in undertaking this particular procurement than any other, the Commission has sought and will always seek to abide by the law and stated procedures. Thank you.
I just want to, I wish to just add on a bit with the ballot papers, that this matter, there's a petition in court which has been filed on this particular Mbezi election. And one of the issues is about ballot papers. So we can't say much, because otherwise it will be sub judice for us to discuss a matter that is read before court. But after that court session, we would like to have a session with you people so that we can go through this, so that you know our procedures when a reprint is being done, who reprints and what happens, whether stakeholders are informed or not. But since it's in court, I wouldn't want to say much because it will be sub judice.
Thank you, Chair. We seem to have come to the end, but maybe before we go, some concluding remarks from your end.
Well, I just wish to thank you for coming. You are our partners in the electoral process. And whenever we hold elections and discussions and what, you are always with us. So I just want to commend you for this partnership, and that we hope that as we go along, we have so many by-elections taking place. You are all very welcome to join us, to be with us, so that you can inform the public at large of what we are doing for themselves, so that we can bring peace, we can maintain peace and order in the country. And also our electorates can appreciate your role and our role in the electoral process. So I thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair. Some last announcements for speeches. We'll share on the respective platforms, but if you want individually, my colleague Sylvia, actually sitting behind me, will make the speeches available. At this point, I wish to invite the Chair to lead us for just some snack and interactions thereafter.